This is the seventh gate of Kammasaka Zen, and is the emptiness and the physical. This is Dharma talk number 4. It's the interconnection of the seventh gate, emptiness and the physical, and the seventh ox-herding picture, known as the ox forgotten and the self alone. In the journey of Zen practice, profound insights often arise from the interplay of physical and spiritual dimensions. And in the seventh gate of Kammasaka Zen, known as enlightenment and the physical, it provides, or emptiness and the physical, provides a philosophical lens to examine this relationship. Similarly, the seventh ox-herding picture, titled The Ox Forgotten, the Self Alone, it offers a vivid allegorical representation of this particular stage in Zen realization. And together these teachings invite practitioners to embrace the unity of body and spirit, the transcendence of our dualistic perceptions, and the ultimate realization of the present moment as the core of enlightenment. So, in this seventh gate, enlightenment and physical underscores the integration of awakening with everyday life. Unlike abstract notions of enlightenment that alleviate it or elevate it above ordinary existence, this gate recognizes that true realization we must embrace the physical world and all its activities. Enlightenment is not a state removed from the mundane. It is simply a dynamic presence that infuses all aspects of being, including the body. So, this teaching resonates deeply with the Zen ethos of mindfulness, which embraces the sacredness of our ordinary actions, our daily activities. And we realize that they are not separate from our spiritual practice, but they are the practice. So enlightenment is expressed in how one sits, how one moves, and how one interacts with the world. And the physical body becomes a vehicle for the awakening. And through this discipline, yet natural presence, the essence of Zen is embodied. So the seventh gate, it challenges us as practitioners to transcend the duality of spirit and body. And in doing so, it invites a profound understanding that physicality, it's not a hindrance to enlightenment, but it's an essential manifestation. So this perspective reframes the body as a locus of practice, where mindfulness transforms mundane actions into sacred expressions of this awakened state. The seventh ox-herding picture, the ox forgotten, the self alone, it represents a pivotal moment in the Zen journey. Having tamed the ox, symbolizing the mind and the ego, the practitioner now transcends the need for symbols, transcends the need for concepts or external guides. The ox, once the focus of the journey, it begins to fade into the background. The self, fully aware and unattached, begins to stand alone, unencumbered by distinctions or dualities. This stage encaptures the essence of what we call just being. The practitioner is no longer caught in striving or searching. Enlightened awareness has become an inherent state. The ego-driven self dissolves, and it begins to leave behind profound simplicity and clarity. And it's in this state where there is no separation between subject and object, self and other, and especially body and spirit. This picture reflects the deep Zen teaching that enlightenment is not something to attain, but something to realize or to be realized within the ordinary flow of life. And by forgetting the ox, one moves beyond the dependence of form, practices, and even the notion of enlightenment itself. And what remains is the pure, unmediated experience of existence, experience of silence. It's complete and sufficient. So both the seventh gate and the seventh ox herding picture, they converge on a central Zen theme: the dissolution of these dualistic boundaries. And they invite us as practitioners to be moved beyond the separation of the physical and the spiritual, beyond the self and other, or even beyond the practice and realization, even beyond practice and realization. And then enlightenment, in their view, is not a state apart from the world, but an embodied presence within it. So the essence of the seventh gate is on the physicality of enlightenment, and it aligns with the picture's depiction of a self that stands alone, liberated from attachments. So in Zen, the body is not merely a vessel for the spirit. It can be a manifestation of it. And then the act of actually forgetting the ox parallels the practitioner's realization that there is no dichotomy between body and spirit. Both are expressions of the same fundamental reality. For existence, in mindful walking, the practitioner does not seek to transcend the body, but to simply inhabit it fully. And then each step can become a moment of enlightenment itself. Similarly, in the ox forgotten, the self alone, the practitioner does not abandon the world, but engages with it in a state of pure presence. And then the body, once perceived as a separate or mundane, it's recognized as an integral part of the awakened state. So both the gate and the picture emphasize the importance of the present moment. Enlightenment is not an abstract or future goal. It is the complete awareness of now. And this teaching dissolves the distinction between practice and life, simply revealing that every moment holds the potential for awakening. And in the seventh gate, physical activities, like eating or sweeping, they're not distractions from the practice. They are the practice. And this aligns with the seventh picture, the message in the seventh picture, that enlightenment is not external or separate, but it is simply inherent in the practitioner's being. And then when the ox is forgotten, the practitioner realizes that the present moment, unadorned and unmediated, is the ultimate expression of enlightenment. There's a crucial connection between the seventh gate and the seventh picture, and is the cessation of striving. The practitioner no longer seeks enlightenment as something out there. And this is a transformative moment. It's a transformative moment in our Zen practice. It marks the end of this dualistic thinking. Oh, I'm in here, enlightenment's out there. And in the ox forgotten, the self alone, the practitioner transcends the need for the ox. And this represents the end of attachment to form and technique. Similarly, the seventh gate teaches that enlightenment is not about escaping physicality or achieving a spiritual state. It's about embodying the sacred within the mundane. This act of striving, it begins to dissolve, and it's replaced by natural, spontaneous presence. So both the seventh gate and the seventh picture, they explore the paradox of transcendence and immanence. Enlightenment transcends the limitations of the ego and the physical, yet it is deeply immanent in every action and moment. This paradox is central to the Zen practice, where the goal is not to escape the world, but to simply and fully embrace it. And the focus, or the seventh gate's focus on physicality, demonstrates that enlightenment is immanent in the body, and its actions, both its body and its actions. Similarly, the ox forgotten and the self alone reveals that the self, once detached from the striving and attachment, is both transcendent and fully present within the world. And it's this dual perspective invites more of a holistic understanding of enlightenment as both beyond and within the ordinary. And then this interconnection of the seventh gate and the seventh picture, it has profound implications for us as Zen practitioners, because it can challenge us to integrate our spiritual insights with our physical existence, and to find the sacred within the mundane, and to embody enlightenment in every moment. So mindfulness in the seventh gate is encouraged in all activities. Recognizing as expressions of awakening. And then practitioners are invited to approach daily tasks with the same reverence and presence as they do in formal meditation. So this teaching transforms ordinary life into continuous practice of Zen. And then the simplicity. The simplicity in the seventh gate resonates with the gate's call to embodied enlightenment in the physical. And by shedding attachments and dualities, we can discover a profound clarity. This simplicity is not a denial of complexity, but an embrace of the essential. So both teachings highlight the importance of body in spiritual practice. Enlightenment is not an abstract state. It's lived and felt. And the body can become a mirror of this awakened mind. The physical actions we do reflect the clarity and presence of realization. So finally, the interconnection of these teachings, it invites practitioners to move beyond this dualistic way of thinking, that enlightenment is not separate from physicality, nor is the self separate from the world. And it's this holistic perspective that tends to foster a deep sense of unity and interconnectedness. So the seventh gate and the seventh ox-herding picture, they offer profound insights into the nature of enlightenment as an embodied, present moment realization. And by dissolving dualities and embracing the sacredness of the ordinary, then they guide us as practitioners towards a holistic understanding of awakening. And it's through these teachings that Zen reveals that enlightenment is not a state apart from life, but rather is an innate presence within it. So the ox may be forgotten, but what remains is the self fully aware, fully alive, and fully at peace in the ever-present now. And it's in this unity of body and spirit, of transcendence and immanence, that the heart of Zen becomes realized.